cricket's hidden layers, we explore the key roles in unlocking player potential, where preparation meets opportunity. Teams shaped by resilience, with players pushing their limits to achieve greatness. Discover how peak performance is altering game outcomes. Join us for fresh perspectives on cricket dynamics. Welcome to Beyond the Pitch, powered by 10aciousX.
Good evening, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second edition of 10aciousX's podcast session, which is termed as Beyond the Pitch. Again, we have our usual guests and usual suspects, as you may call it. I hate calling Umesh a guest. Maybe I can call him a resident guest. That might do justice, but he's here. But along with the Tenacious team, we are absolutely stoked and thrilled to have Mr. Abhijit Khan, who I would possibly let Umesh do the introduction. But somebody whom I have grown up, hearing his name in the cricketing circles as far as India is concerned, and now he's doing some brilliant work as far as the Belgium cricket is concerned. But like I said, Umesh, if you could take the lead of introducing our guest of honor today, that'll be wonderful, and we can make us
more than happy, Raj. Abhijit Khan is not a good friend. We played together cricket, but when he started to do some cricket back in Brazil, from Brazil he's moved on to Germany. From Germany he's doing some work at Netherlands, and now his current position is he's the head coach for the under-19 Belgium team, because he's the director of the youth development in the whole of Belgium. So that's Mr. Abhijit Khan, passionate cricketer. They're going right now on 22nd to Denmark for the under-19 World Cup qualifiers from Europe. So we wish him all the best and welcome to the whatever Raj you want to call it. Welcome to
a series of very interesting discussions. And this being the second one. But Umesh, thank you. I've known Abhijit just by name because I was fortunate enough to play for a club called Challengers Cricket Club back in India. The common thread is that he was also a resident of Santa Cruz in Mumbai, and so was Umesh, and so was I. But it's a shame that when he was playing, I couldn't sort of play along with him. I could just hear his name as far as the folklore, and he was the founding member of the club, and the club had produced some of the best cricketers that I played along, and some of the best names that we actually call as club cricket or Mumbai circuit cricket. I mean, so many names come to mind: Viral Amin, Abe Saraiya, Vincent Albuquerque. So it was a brilliant club, and Abhijit being the founding member. So, Abhijit, welcome. And we would in fact, love to get a word from you right away that, from Santa Cruz days to what Umesh mentioned, Brazil, the South America to Europe. So what's been the journey? We would love to know. I mean, our viewers would love to know, and especially throw some light on the cricketing side as well.
Well, Raj, it's a privilege to be amongst this elite group here now. I'm right now currently based in Europe, so looking into cricketing growth and development here in Europe. Right, it's a privilege in a big manner because cricket brings you together. It takes you away also at a very early stage, but then this is a dream come true to have the same people coming back from Santa Cruz doing this podcast. Wherever, in whichever group Umesh is there, I call it a elite group. So, because you'll always get something beyond out of the box. And, we actually what we call as living cricket. We live cricket. Okay. As you see, we all come from very humble background, and we have worked and especially myself, I worked a lot on the grassroots level first, and always believed in setting up foundation and then growing it from there. And after doing a lot of effort for Challenges Cricket Club and identifying and creating a team which was amongst the best in Bombay at that time, when it came to, in those days, the buzzword was fitness, uh, and even fielding. We had a very young and dynamic team there, and all of you followed and took it forward in a very positive way. So that with that confidence, I traveled to Brazil, and Brazil, I had the privilege of working along with one Matt Featherstone.
Yeah.
He's still heading Cricket Brazil, but one of the greatest, I think, mentor when it comes to development cricket. So I had the privilege initially to work with the youth development there, and then the women's team, which was the only team which had a central contract before the men team globally.
Oh, okay.
And the women team today, as a year after 7 to 8 years, they are now playing the World Cup qualifiers and actually winning their division in Americas. So
Super.
they are now challenging teams like USA, challenging teams like Canada and Argentina. So with that experience, I moved to Europe, and when I moved to Europe, I moved into Germany first,
Yeah.
and again started working in some clubs, and then the development cricket in grassroots level from the youth level. I happened to get into the board of German cricket that time, known as DCB.
Lovely.
So I worked in the board of German cricket, and that helped me to understand how we can strategically work in building up the youth development programs along with ICC as an associate country. So that with that expertise, I helped the youth teams of Germany to be competitive and you know get a presence in the European circuit. Then we moved to Amsterdam. That is where I actually live in Netherlands.
Okay.
I live in Amsterdam along with my family there. Again, started helping one of the good teams in Amsterdam, that is Bloemondal. Uh, but then, fortunately, I got the call for Belgium national team head coach. So I came in 5 years back as a Belgium national team head coach. And at that time, it was a lot of issues here. The team was made and broken, and then I had to restart right from the grassroots again. So a lot of strategic work and a lot of operational aspects had to be taken care. But uh, fortunately, we did well in that tenure of 5 years. Our ranking moved from 64th in the world to 37th,
Wow.
and we actually shocked the European circuit by playing a good T10 tournament. Every year we have a T10 tournament here conducted by the European Cricket Network,
Right.
which is globally televised, and it's played in Spain. So I have been always following Umesh journey with Afghanistan, and we keep talking about playing fearless cricket. I had a lot of the team members who were from expat Asian ethnicity, so mainly from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and few of them are Indians.
Sure.
Just ask them to you know change their mindset to play fearless cricket and play sensible when needed. So somehow that worked, and in the 2 or 3 years of our participation in Spain, We were among the top 3 or 5 teams in Europe now. Usually, this tournament, nearly 26 European teams perform, and we had the privilege of at least reaching finals once, and always clearing the group stage and getting into the semi-final finals of the final week. So our ranking, if it comes to T10, it would be among the top 3 in the European circuit.
Bravo.
Okay, and purely playing some good fearless cricket. The targets given is at least a boundary every 2 balls, or in a T10 inning also I expect them to score 20, 25, hit 20, 25 boundaries. These boys have a good technique, but they have good ability to clear boundaries, uh, good fitness and fielding ability. So they will play hard in that sense. But as I always speak to Umesh, sometimes when they go overboard, then we also tend to lose out on longer format of the game. So say T20 and 50 is now developing here more. So 50 overs game, and
Okay.
to that extent. So then lately we thought about doing well in the qualifiers. So I took the responsibility one level down of building this under 19 team.
Okay.
And identifying, when you want to play under 19 qualifiers, you have to identify boys who are players below 17.
Sure.
And then we work on that. So it was a more strategic decision, because I'll always keep observing how Afghanistan has been doing lately. It's because they have been working on the grassroots level around a decade back. They started working there. And now you see USA is doing the same,
Correct.
It's not all about, getting funding from ICC or any other associations, but it is all about channelizing the effort and the commitment for the game.
Brilliantly said, Abhijit. Brilliantly. I mean, I couldn't have agreed more. In fact, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Right.
you've been an unsung hero. The takeaway for me, and thank you for walking us through your journey
Yeah.
from India to Belgium. But all I can say is you've been an unsung hero. You worked behind the scenes, and more importantly, at the grassroots level. And that's what even our endeavor is as a company, that 10aciousX is not only meant for the elite set of sportsmen, namely cricketers or other sports,
Yeah.
but actually we want to take it to the grassroots level so that we're able to build the next set of champions. We're able to create bench strength and so on. So I think we Tenacious would see, definitely our synergies coming together and doing something meaningful and something constructive. So, Abhijit, thank you. In fact, I would still, sort of staying on the subject, though our first session when we recorded, we were doing it in the midst of a World Cup, and India got victorious, and a lot of all of it gave happiness to 1.4, 1.5 billion people, right? But before we get to the this podcast was more of also covering what transpired in the World Cup. How did India win? What were those anxious moments? But before we get there, I am staying on the subject of say Belgium.
Yeah.
The World Cup witnessed the associate nation theory as a big win. I mean, you look at performances coming from US. I do not want to call Afghanistan an associate nation, but the fact that nobody gave them a chance, but they've outshone a lot of the regular guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, Bangladesh has been on the cusp, but they've never gone beyond a certain threshold. So my question to you is, when it comes to Belgium cricket, where does it stand today as an associate nation? especially coming in from a continent which is more into football and other sports as opposed to cricket. And what is the future of Belgium cricket that you see from your eyes? I mean, we would love to hear your views on this.
Yeah, thank you, Raj. And uh, well, I feel it is it has to be dealt very strategically. Yeah, because it's short term. I can claim that we have improved our ranking and we are got into the qualifiers, or we are just into getting ready for the World Cup to be played in 2 years' time or 3 years' time. However, I think now with this USA showing so much interest and other countries also now, the newer countries are also wanting to play cricket. Strategically, I stepped into this position as a director of excellence in cricket for Belgium. Uh, More because I'm looking at 2028 Olympic Games.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So
nice.
the vision, what we have revisited for Belgium Cricket Federation, is to get a podium position in 2028. So if we have to reach to that level 2028, we have to go back right again to the grassroots and even identify players who are even under 17, under 19, and work for them for next 5 to 10 years. So it's a work cut out, and sometimes it's very scary because you have such ambition without being too greedy. But the aspiration will and the purpose will give the direction of us working towards that goal. So I think that that's the primary how to I would like to monitor every 1,000 days. So I have seen next 3 years. We hope to Belgium to be among the top 20 teams at least, if not in the top 10 at least. If we are in top 20, I think we become very competitive, and teams would want to play with us. Because when I came here 5 years back, then not many teams wanted to play with us. Although they heard about Belgium, they know that it was a talented team, but then they were not very sure about the competitiveness. So
True.
now it's learning. Either way, we learn from you, and we can give something back to the game and the other competitive teams. So it's all about setting the culture more than, obviously, again, this looks like a jargon as of now, but it's like you it's very simple when I say that I want a podium position in Olympic Games in 2028. But the culturally, when you talk about Belgium and the Netherlands, which is two nearby countries,
Yeah,
which is now also Netherlands, fortunately, is already a few years ahead of us because of they are getting into the World Cup. They are
sure.
not winning many games like Afghanistan, but they are getting there. They'll get more and more competitive, and they'll assemble a good team in, I think, next 3 years as well. But both the countries, what I am following is their success in football and hockey. Yeah, hockey has been, they started working 5 years or 10 years back, a decade back,
Yeah, yeah,
and now they are the top. These two are the top two teams in hockey and football, and in Olympic Games they surely get into the podium position
yeah. In
because
fact, there is Paris Olympics
yes,
just
yes,
about a few days away. So yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yes,
Belgium was. I completely concur with you that Belgium came out of nowhere.
yeah,
Usually you had Germany, Australia, Netherlands as the strong teams. Of course, India back in the day, but
yeah.
Belgium has been very resurgent, and their rise has been very sort of meteoric. So absolutely in agreement.
So they know the way of building teams for the top Olympic Games, or the way the journey is has been very successful, and purely again because I think they are natural athletes. They work on their fitness and they have a mentally very strong team, both the Netherlands and Belgium. So I am trying to get the best out of that. Those two team building exercises, what they are doing in their Olympic endeavor and maybe synergize it with cricket once we identify the right talent and we back them up more scientifically. So
Fantastic.
hopefully, and that is one of the reasons, if Umesh is coming, it's one is obviously the friendship which we and the bonding which we have with each other. But the idea is I'm still looking at Umesh standing beside me when we go to Atlanta. So
Abhijit, all I can say is brilliant. Kudos to your mission. Kudos to the thought process. I think Belgium cricket is in good hands, and Umesh coming in, is a very very welcome addition to the mix. We wish you all the best, and like I said, Tenacious X would love to play or stand besides you or stand work behind the scenes with you to make sure that you are able to achieve whatever milestones that you've sort of targeted, right? So all the very best. In fact, I would love to sort of hear Umesh's view, since he spent some few days in Belgium. How's Belgium treating him? If he can sort of complement what Abhijit said and add to what he said. So love to hear from you.
What I've seen in last few days, the boys have the talent, they have the skills. The problem starts when you don't have the facilities. When the ICC funding isn't as much as it goes to the other countries.
Mhm.
So if there's some sponsorship or the government comes in, how it's done in Korea, they get a lot of funding from the government for cricket. If the Belgian government can start doing that, it will really help the team to grow. So hopefully in the coming years they will understand, as in US Olympics they're going to get the T20 World Cup or the T20 teams to play for the Olympics, and hopefully we all will be there in US and that summer or that year to enjoy the game as well as the Olympics.
Thanks, Umesh. Super. And Abhijit is on a mission, and I can clearly, or we can clearly see that he's picking the right people to achieve what he set out for. So, and we would love to sort of join in as well. On this note, I'm going to throw the floor open to the voice from Sri Lanka. I know Nipuna has not been a good World Cup for Sri Lanka. Sorry, I didn't mean to remind you of that. But I mean, any which ways we're going to discuss every team, why it faltered, and so on. But what's what's your sense? What is happening in Sri Lanka post the World Cup? I'm sure LPL is is there, and I briefly watched Jaffna play. I don't remember the other team, but Jaffna apparently is again seemingly on top this year. So anything that you'd like to sort of share from Sri Lanka from a World Cup context? Has the disappointment sort of been set aside, and what's happening in Sri Lanka as we speak?
Yeah. So thanks, Raj. I mean, it has been a disappointing World Cup. Before that, I would like to welcome Abhijit and Umesh, and it's a privilege to be in the same panel as you guys. Sri Lanka wise, I mean, things went in the background is now coming slowly to the media as well. So we know as much as what media says. So how much true that is and stuff like that, we are yet to be heard. But we are seeing a lot of frustration from the Sri Lankan captain Wanidhu Hasaranga, even through the LPL, and he is Candy's captain, and he's been failing in the that team as well. And but recently there was a resurgence, the last match, the Candy and the Jaffna, they did a good chase and 200 plus runs, and they managed to catch it easily. Thanks to mainly Neeraj Chandimal, where he did play a really good game. But Hasaranga is right now, I mean, so to say, the feeling, the heat, how Hardik Pandya was having during that time. But it's yet to see that how he can regain himself. And one of the things that we are resurfacing is that there has been some drinking and like partying and stuff like that off the field during the matches as well. Not sure these are reported in the media, but in national media, but not sure how true and false that is, because there has been uh, reserve team members as well who are not part of the main original squad as well. So not sure how true that is, but seeing the reactions and a lot of things happening, and we are seeing Kumar Sangakkara is mentioning about changes going to happen, and Sanat Jayasuriya became interim head coach for the time being, as Mahendra Jayawardene and Chris would step down from their respective roles. So, and the silver lining or the good thing is, we have been for ages being this rebuilding mode for some reason. So, and after 2015 or so, I see there are 2 years now, because we are not going to be a part of the Champions League as well next year, because we were not able to qualify. So by 2026, it's going to be in our home ground as hometown, country as well, the World Cup. So I see as a good 2 years to be prepared and bring a continuous team for the next World Cup. But unfortunately, the processes and everything, we are not seeing that much. So why, if we ask why we failed as a team, I think there's a bit of a cricketing intelligence missing on the field with peak mindset that needs to happen during crunch times and good decision making. I don't think there's lack of skill, but it's more about playing in the moment correctly and winning those small moments continuously. Kind of gave away the chances in the World Cup, at least when progressing to the other stages. That's and that due towards getting bogged down and preoccupied with other elements rather than the game itself kind of hindered. I feel. So this is my personal point of view. How I see.
In fact, we'll take we'll pick the brains of Abhijit and Umesh, but in my humble opinion, I think Sri Lanka cricket has always relied on tall stalwarts, who would raise their hand and possibly take wickets or score a century. They were game changers, or sort of match defining people. Arvinda, Jayasuriya, Chavindavas, you had so many, right? I mean, Muralidharan. I feel that somehow that sort of element in Sri Lankan cricket is missing, in my humble view. But maybe we'll get Abhijit to sort of, though he's looking after European affairs and specifically Belgium. But Abhijit, your impressions upon Sri Lankan cricket, the way where it is. I mean, they were amongst the fancied teams, but today they're not even in the reckoning. Abhijit, if you could sort of give your views on what you see as the problem with Sri Lankan cricket.
Personally, all of us have grown ourselves as cricketers, watching the legendary performances of all the Sri Lankan top names, what you have already listed. It was a combination which would always work.
Yep.
And a very committed team effort would be visible and in fact, they were probably the pioneers in improvisation. If we today talk about, scoop shot or playing the power play, the way they used to play, I think they were very innovative and improvising. They were experts in improvising. So much more fearless. I think they were not, you need less thinking and less clustered thought process if you want to play freely the way they used to play. So somewhere down the line, I think that transition has not taken place in terms of some 2 or 3 top-notch leaders and the leadership, what I call is the core leadership team, which is not able to take it forward. The mindset, what they already had in their game plan, maybe that is not helping them much. I think the other reason could be the expectations and the process that has not been somewhere. There's the synergy not happening, or the connect is not there. So if the process is followed well, I think Sri Lanka will be the first team which I look forward will come up fast. So I am only hoping for Sri Lanka point of view a short transition, not a big gap from there. And this is a wake up call for them as well as the world cricket, because sometimes you can be on the top, but if you don't sustain it and play on your strength, continue to work on your strength, you can even slip down in the order.
So very well articulated, Abhijit. Thanks
Yeah.
for the inputs. I think you were absolutely on cue when you said that one is the mental shift, and playing fearless cricket. What we recognized their stalwarts in the past. I mean, I had the
Yeah.
privilege of meeting Romesh Kaluvitarna in my last trip to Sri Lanka last month, and he, along with Sanat, changed the power play was played back in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So I think they need to sort of get that back sooner than later, and be very clear in their mind that what is the approach that they would like to take. So thank you for your words of wisdom. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Umesh, quickly, your thoughts before we let Girish and Jothi come in and ask their questions as well.
I think Abhijit covered every part of what things could go. For me, before the World Cup, getting in a captain who's not been with the team for a long time, I think something which West Indies also missed the part is you cannot have a captain just into some major event. So hopefully, for me, that was a big catch. Your leader cannot be someone who's new to the team. So hopefully, those other part which Abhijit is already covered, but Sanaka was doing so well with the team in the shorter format. Hopefully, Sri Lanka would have gone with him. Similarly, West Indies. Hopefully, in coming years, these are a few things they would take care. Otherwise, the T20 format is such on a given day, any team can get anything.
Thanks, Umesh. Very well said. And I think that there, I believe India should be given credit because they did not lose faith on Rohit Sharma, because there were talks of, getting him and Virat Kohli replaced. So I think better sense prevailed, and the result is, there in front of all of us. So thank
There's
you.
one
Thank you
where
for your.
you can really praise Jai Shah, because he well in advance said that Rohit Sharma is going to captain the T20 World Cup, putting all the news media and everything to not create any controversy, and everything was well settled quite early. If you remember Jai Shah's statement.
So true. It's important to put your weight behind your key players and key sort of leaders in a sense. So thank you, Umesh. Well said. Jyoti, Girish, you guys want to come in and ask questions to Abhijit, Umesh?
Hey, thank you, Raj. We are very excited to meet Abhijit Khan. We know Umesh and had a conversation last time. It was really useful and very insightful. So thanks, Abhijit Khan, for joining this Beyond the Pitch, our second podcast episode. I just want to ask two things. As a coach that you're building the Belgium national team, as well as working on the under 19 team, just want to go to your comments, I think, about going to the grassroots. If you could share some insights in terms of under 19 team, particularly, how do you make them keep things simple in terms of mental state, focus, just do one ball at a time type of thing? Like, how do you kind of tell them, or assess them. Any thoughts would be wonderful, because as a tenacious group, we are kind of trying to bring some of the technology elements to help in that space. So if you could share anything on that, that would be, I think, very helpful for us to understand.
Yeah, I appreciate and a very interesting question. Something which really challenges many coaches as well. As I mentioned, it's more of a strategic role which I would like to play now with the youth development. But nevertheless, operationally, I try to keep it as simple as possible. I think both Umesh and me try to advocate, players, and we like players who express themselves freely on the ground. The primary thing which I want them is to get interested to the game, because I'm talking absolute grassroots, where there are hardly players who have even seen a proper cricket ground or setup. So we first want them to enjoy the game, get interested in the game, and then, because they are not clustered or not having too much of coaching, we try to just make them express themselves on the freely on the ground, and then we take it from there and play on their strength primarily, and then develop their areas where we feel that skill and fitness and other aspects have to be taken care. The cricketing level, we take it probably again, it's on the roadmap, one of the milestones when we go forward. But as of now, it's just getting them interested, getting them playing freely, because that was my primary concern. Because, when I got Umesh just before the World Cup qualifier, is to work on the mental aspect more than because I didn't want them to, crumple under expectations. Because already, they have a lot of peer pressure, and then they have pressure from their parents. The parents expect, when they come to coaches like us, they expect every time these boys should be playing IPL in a year or two. So, they're already put under tremendous pressure in terms of expectations. So that's where I try to balance it off. Then we always look at, few of the boys who become role models from this group. And even if we have the core leadership team building up over a period of time, they become elite players and then move to becoming the emerging cricketers for Team Belgium. So obviously there's a roadmap, there's a process to it. And as much as possible, I have to keep bringing them back to the vision, what I'm talking about. Is first internalizing the vision, and then, able to communicate, talk regularly with them, and make them more sensible cricketers rather than just going there and with the burden of a lot of expectations. So there's no magic which is going to happen. We just put in effort and get. I have full confidence in my friends and colleagues whom I know globally or who have networked over the years. Basically, the thought process has to be more player centric, and whatever needed for the players, I think I should be able to deliver that.
Thank you. I think the message is keep it simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Simple yet smart.
Lovely. I wanted to just quickly add one more piece here. I think this is amazingly exciting. Thank you, Abhijit, for being a part. And I think with the help of Umesh, we've already sort of begun a journey where we try to bring some personalization to the whole understanding yourself and expressing yourself freely and stuff like that. Abhijit, you touched a very key, important, and very close, personally close to topic of the company and myself as well, as to bring about a scientific approach, include a holistic approach, as in both physical and mental characteristics, and how do you sort of assess that? My thought or question would be, I think technology, as it has to be in the hands of the right people. Again, this is why fortunate to have people like yourself, and of course, beginning with Umesh in the picture here, where filling in the right inputs from knowledgeable people to build and be a part of the construction of solutions and technology, and then giving it back to in the hands of people like yourself and Umesh to use it appropriately is critical. I wanted, so I think some of the stuff for ways to sort of such solutions as well as bring it into your hand so that it can be demonstrating value at an individual level while sort of strategizing on how this should evolve long term to be almost a companion to the coach and the players in order to sort of take this forward. Any thoughts or comments on things that you've seen very helpful in using as a tool, as a data point? How do you see this evolving? And I would love to sort of learn from that to make that a part of our efforts and sort of bring it back to you as well to say that, hey, you know what, you've given us this input. We would like to see if this is as a tool will be useful for your journey in the the nearest to the longest term roadmap that you've built for the teams there. So any insights on how the tech play and the technology in information play has been so far? What kind of things that you may have explored? And what would be, if you had a magic wand to say, hey, these are things that would be ideal to have on hand, any couple of pointers would be helpful there.
Yeah, Girish, as you speak, my adrenaline, I'm getting more excited about it because I don't know, by default, I have worked with AI company as their consultant, but frankly saying, it is my lack of initiative which I couldn't use the technology which was developed here in Netherlands. My friend in Amsterdam, he's Madan. He's got a company known as Ludimus. Maybe you can get a more insight on LinkedIn, and we have AI app which does the pitch map and technical feedback, which fortunately or unfortunately I used it well during the COVID pandemic. I personally am a little technically challenged or technologically challenged, so I didn't use my knowledge of coaching and optimize on the use of this technology. But as you spoke, I feel it's a big reminder for me that as we move forward in the what we call as building up the next generation cricket or Gen X, technology is going to be the in thing, and coaches have to be moving into the way we are using now cell phones and iPads or whatever it is. We have to make it optimize and learn it, and maybe that use it as a fantastic tool to build cricketers of tomorrow.
Fantastic. Thank you, Abhijit. I think that's really motivating. I think it's definitely people who are forthcoming as well as open to adopting are the key to making these inroads into making a difference. We don't want to be creating technology just because we are engineers who can do this. Yeah. We want to be creating this because it solves a practical sort of need. And it should be of meaningful use to you. So thank you, Abhijit. I think I'll hand it back to Raj. I think that's
one point.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Because Madan and Ludimus, they worked well with the technology in doing a lot of talent hunt, and they actually Netherlands actually use this technology for getting net bowlers or connecting a lot of support for Netherlands players in India during the World Cup. So it definitely is a nice way of building up right from the grassroots.
Fantastic. I think would love to, more the merrier. I think people there to collaborate who have different viewpoints would love to engage and see if there is some synergies to jointly sort of move forward. Yes. So looking forward to have some more discussions on that. I think Raj, please. So I think I think it just sort of sets the ball in a super high note of the fact that we have the opportunity to now collaborate with people like Abhijit and Umesh to actually make it relevant in the context with newer teams as well as budding teams, as well as the fact that there is a goal of 2028 be on the podium and these things like. And I think you now can charter out a very carved out plan that includes some of these solutions, and we can evaluate in a very practical and longitudinal way as to how they are making a difference in the field there. So I know I'm beyond words to say that, hey, I'm excited that we are in this journey here.
Thank you, Girish. And Abhijit, just so you know, that is one of the reasons that we had got Umesh very early into the mix, into our fold, because we were clear that we didn't want to build a product or a solution or a tech, not keeping it contextual to coaches or players, right? I mean, and I would say after listening to you, we can safely add, with your permission, add you to the list. We would love to work alongside with you in creating some sort of a wish list that you may have there in saying, hey, can you guys help me with this so that maybe I can save time and I can deliver on outcomes that you're seeking. And like, for example, we could partner with you for that mission of 2028. And one more thing that sits very well is the fact that our company is there designing to help not just the elite sportsmen, but players at the grassroots level. And since you are championing that cause of building this from ground up, I think our synergies could go very well, and we could sort of, rather than intimidating people with technology, you could actually put that to use. So thank you, Abhijit. Really appreciate that.
I think it will be interesting few days now with Umesh. Yeah, it's a sort of challenge we also look for, and because we are probably the black sheep even in Challenges Cricket Club nowadays, because we keep talking at a different tangent altogether. But nevertheless, I think sometimes the aspiration and the purpose drives us more than the passion for the game.
I have known Umesh long enough, and I know that he doesn't believe in pleasantry exchange. He speaks from his heart. He doesn't care about what people feel, and that's what you want. I mean, you want to have things told very straight, not sort of minced or not sort of camouflaged for your personal gain. And I have seen Umesh being a very selfless sort of individual, where he means real good benefit for people who come to him. And I've seen that and experienced that firsthand. And Abhijit, you are no different. The fact that you guys are together, which means that there's a lot of common thread between the two of you. So it's a good company to be in.
Some people say it's a dangerous company to be in, but
we are not complaining, Abhijit. We are not complaining.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we as I said, we live cricket. Okay. I've been aging, so I'm being much more milder form of what I was maybe when we started Challenges 30 or 40 years back, or when I first met Umesh. But as I said, now Umesh is the tough version, which I look forward to help my younger team, because it's setting culture. If they are corrected at the right time, I think then we are more proactive in our approach. And maybe now with Girish spoke very few words, and I can understand the question and what everyone on this group or panel spoke. I think we are in a like-minded group. So it is by God's grace, I think we have been all coming together.
Thank you, Abhijit, for your endorsement. Thank you. And I'm glad I quickly corrected myself by addressing you as Abhijit and not Mr., because I did not want to you
No,
know.
no.
So
Don't call me sir. Call me by name. If people call me Abhi, or Umesh is even shorter. He calls me AK.
no, we'll earn that privilege soon enough. But
Yeah. Let me feel more younger for some more time.
you're young in your thoughts. That I can
Yeah.
assure you. I mean, the way
No,
you think, you're calm and composed, and I
yeah.
think you between Umesh, you are a brilliant combination. And I think we would love to be in this company and make something meaningful and worthwhile for all the stakeholders. So that's where I'm coming from. Uh,
Good, that's
I'm not going to let both of you go without commenting on World Cup, and this has a meaning or a a context to the mental side of things. Like, for example, the question I mean to ask is 30 runs, 30 balls, uh, Klassen in full swing. We started using all the possible cuss words as armchair critics or armchair folks, and we said, "Hey, the game is gone." Uh, Abhijit, to you first. What changed?
I think getting the breakthrough was important, and once you get that breakthrough at a crucial stage of the game, the pressure shifted.
Okay.
In the end of the day, we all knew the underlying fact that they are chokers, South Africans. So it was just about getting that one breakthrough, and then as they two followed one, and then everything collapsed for them.
Abhijit, you bring in a very important point. I know I refrain from using this word because unfortunately this is now tagged along with the South African teams over the years too long,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So is this about mental stability, mental integration? What is this? I'm sure it can't be stretched this long. I mean, I think good 20, 25 since they started playing cricket. They've never sort of crossed the final hurdle. I mean, this is the first time they came to the finals. So what do you attribute this to? Is it like mental sort of toughness, stability? What do you attribute this to?
Yeah, I think it is when the expectations goes higher for them, they get clustered mentally, and that's when sometimes a very highly talented team, they start depending on the other person finishing it off for them. So maybe they choke at that moment. Is when they start thinking about they're very close to victory or winning. It puts a lot of pressure on them and the team, on the team context.
Okay. Fair enough. I think, yeah, I think you can safely say that again, nobody shoulders not one individual shoulders the responsibility and say, hey, I'm going to sort of get you guys
Yeah.
across the line. Like David Miller also had an opportunity after Klassen got out. He had 16 to score, and it is
Yes.
famously said, if it's in the arc, it's outside the park, right? Something on those lines. So,
Yeah.
of course, Surya's catch was magical.
Maybe
I
some
mean,
other game, even Rabada would have finished it off.
yeah,
Yeah,
true,
just the pressure won't happen.
true. Umesh, to you, a similar question, but a different player now. I'm going to switch to the Indian context, right? We're looking at Jasprit Bumrah, who had 2 overs in those 30 balls, he had 12 balls to sort of play, right? And each time Rohit or be it an MI or even this time, he delivers. And in his post-match interview, he spoke about something called a peak mindset. What do you how is this individual different from other cricketers? What are your thoughts on this? What do you mean by peak mindset?
First thing is the purpose, as they were all very keen before going to the World Cup. The leader again, Rohit Sharma, what they missed in 2023 World Cup, they wanted to make sure they won't have same thing to come back and then make go back and sit down say, oh, we didn't do this right, we do this right. They made sure that everything what they want to win the World Cup had been done before they go for the World Cup. Rishabh Pant did have the best of the IPL, but they made sure he was in the team, because he has the winning habit, standing up at times when teams are not doing well. Same thing, they picked up all the match winners. So the culture which Rohit built around himself, whether it's Surya Kumar Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah. If you remember, Hardik Pandya had a worst time in the IPL, but they all knew what he did with the Gujarat Titans. A new team as a leader, both the finals. Once they won the championship, last year they won the Ranasam. So when you pick the players, I think a lot of time you forget that it's a cricket character. And I believe match winners are always going to be characters, not cricketers. That's the difference between the captain and the selector. The captain knows who are his characters who can win matches for him. The catch Surya take is just one incident in the final, but there are so many things he's done on the ground when he's fielding, his approach when he's coming to bat, or his approach when he's talking to his teammates. There is no negative thoughts when they're talking to each other. Oh, 170, is it a total we can win or no? So it's like you have to win. We can defend it. Players like Bumrah when they're bowling. So I think it's a mindset comes from your culture which is around you, your leaders, and if you can get all of this come together, and if you want to win a championship, uh, Australia won it 5 times, so it's not like something which is not happening. South Africa is struggling because I don't know whether the team, it's bonding, the leadership. I think Makram did a great job moving on from semi-final to finals, which was the first hurdle. And I think the chokers part would be gone very soon because once they have crossed the first hurdle, finishing the line is never a problem. So that mindset shift again with Clayson and Miller doing the job. Mark Jensen was, not just Rabada, even the way Mark plays, it could have taken the game away. So when you have that culture and people are looking to win, and you have a great leader, great as in not as a personality, great as in a team man who wants the team to be more beneficial when he's taking his decisions or standing up for his team. Same thing with Australia. Pat Cummins had done a great job with the team, whether it was a white ball or red ball. And you see in the World Cup, you have a new captain. So coming back to the same thing, I think the culture is something where you bring the mindset. And I hope the faster the teams learn is why these people are in that kind of a mindset. It's the culture, the team building up, everything will really help them a lot. I think we need to start looking at understanding what is the culture. It is something which you start making decisions when you get up early morning to the time sleep about getting to your goals, whether it's winning World Cup or achieving anything in life.
Super, Umesh. I just want to just quickly extend this, a little bit where this question is Abhijit and you as coaches. How much weightage do you give on mindset prep? Skill is one aspect, right? You can't teach. I mean, especially at that level, you're not teaching people basics or real skill. I think a lot of time is spent on the mental integration or the mental toughness side. Abhijit, to you first, and of course, Umesh, please come in. In your sort of coaching aspects, right? Especially when you say you are at the strategy level, what do you do to sort of make these players mentally tough, especially in crunch times?
I think the primary first point, if I have to put the first bullet point, would be continuous communication. As it's important for them to be remembering what is the purpose or what is the vision, so they don't deviate from there. Them to internalize it totally, and then they're able to communicate well to the other team members. Build a good role clarity of all the players to all the players, driving them to the common goal or the common purpose what they have. The other aspect, I think it's all about leading from the front. When the leadership, when we talk, at the end of the day, you have to lead from the front, and so that the players show some respect. The respect has to be earned. It cannot be told that just because you are put captain on the scorebook, it doesn't work that way. So it's the performances which you give in the previous matches or throughout the tournament, which makes you a player who will be looking forward to, others will look forward to, and make you a role model. And a group of such role models become your core leadership team. That actually helps you to set the culture in, or the team, the what we call it, the team culture.
Very, very, very well said, Abhijit. Thank you. I think continuous and consistent communication, putting the team first, defining the purpose, all well articulated. Umesh,
The question again says the amount of time spent not just in the physical preparation, even the mental preparation. And that Rohit had done a great job, including Rahul Dravid, and even all the other staff, whether it was Paras Mamre, whether it was Vikram Rathod or the fielding coach T. Dilip. When they get appreciated by giving a medal after the match as the best fielder. This is habits which they've developed, which is again a mental part. So a lot of people think is subconsciously do so much work, but if you can have an understanding how you develop an athlete, just not on the physical part, but also on the mental part, which has not been done very regularly. You get in a sports psychologist for a couple of months and you think it's done. But I think this is where a lot of sports team, not just cricket, but whether it is athletes and everybody, you can have very few mindset like Usain Bolt or Kobe Bryant. But to get a lot of them, you will have this sports psychologist or mentalist, maybe some kind of a procedure which can develop these habits from a very younger age. So if we have something which is coming up and helping the people to develop these habits of how to make those small changes. I think a lot of people are trying to make big changes at the last moment. But again, if you can start something earlier, like Abhijit's team, which is looking at 2028 World Cup in the Olympics T20 games in Olympics, if they want to do something, if they start putting those small things in the mind and how to develop it into those habits subconsciously, is something which can really help. So I think a lot of people have not done the mental part; it's done mostly physical part. And luckily, I remember in Nagpur, we did it from morning 5 to evening 6, sitting down in the room and talking about what is sacrifice, what is emotional changes, and all those things. I think that is what will really help a team to understand the mental part, which is missed in today's cricket or any other sports. Not just cricket, it will be wrong to use the word cricket. I would say in the sports.
I couldn't have agreed more, Umesh. And again, I'm driving this thing back to Abhijit's point of preparing people at the grassroots level, because when it comes to elite teams, psychologists, all data can be made available, but this may not necessarily be available at a very junior or basic level in that sense. So I believe that's where we as a company can make a contribution where they could actually provide data and insights to coaches like you and Abhijit in saying, hey, maybe this is the mental state of a particular player, and maybe a pep talk, a clear communication would help, because even players like Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya were in their worst before they came for the World Cup. But Hardik Pandya was a complete transformation from what transpired in the IPL. So I think this all augurs well. Whatever you're is saying is making brilliant sense. And again, 10aciousX as a company would love to sort of make its contribution felt, not just on the physical side of things, by providing data on injury, in terms of mitigation, improving fitness, but achieving peak mindset, like what Bumrah said. So lovely. Thank you for bringing these points out. I believe Nipuna had a question, and I'm also mindful of the time. So Nipuna, you want to throw that question again? I mean,
just being in a big mindset, I like to get, both of your opinion, but just like we saw Klaasen was playing, like he's in the peak mindset and he was hitting every ball, and then there was a break and he lost his concentration. This happens a lot in a lot of other, not only him as a player, but a lot of other cricketers have that in strategic break or something like that. When there's an innings break, then they lose their peak mindset. I think one of the things that India did well is that they didn't lose that mindset, even though there was a break. They were focused and all that. So just was curious to understand how you as a player in a mental state, like you are in the peak mindset, but you get a break or something like that because of that.
Nipuna,
We lose that. How you
I
see
think
that?
we should stop listening to the commentary because the break was not only for the batters, it was also for the bowler. It's easily to fool yourself saying that the break was for the batter. The break was for the bowler also, but the bowler came and got him out in the first ball.
Yes.
So what we do is we make a conclusion out of the execution. So I don't know why we come back and say that there was a break only for the batter. Was it not the break for the bowler? Was it not
Yeah,
a
no,
break for the
that's right.
keeper to miss the catch also? Because he had a break as well, right? So it's not just the batter who had a break. So what we do is we come to a conclusion listening to these commentators who talk what is seen on the screen and they give a lot of conclusion to it. It's again coming back to that 30 ball 30 runs, Clayson and Miller on the non-strike. Hardik Pandya running into bowl and making sure that he wants to give his best to give his team the chances to win the World Cup. So that was, what Raj was talking about, the peak mindset. Again, it was a time for him from the time he had gone through IPL. When people were calling him for all the nonsense things, to suddenly turn it around and become a hero. So those kind of purpose in the life is what actually changed. It's not the break of the 10 minutes and people come up and talk this some really whimsical things about taking a break. The break was not only for the batters, it was for the bowlers, it was for the fielder, it was for the umpire, everyone. So I don't know how does only the batter lose his concentration.
No, I think I would like that. I think one of the main things India continuously did was even they were unbeaten because they never lost the concentration. But if you look at other teams, other players, they come to the peak mindset and they go based on.
Nipuna, South Africa also not lost a single match before they played the finals.
No, I mean, it is more of a lifestyle rather than just in the context of the match. It's how you lead your life as well, builds the culture. Your mental setup comes from there. In fact, Umesh and myself, we were thinking sometimes we say that "Acha hua bach gaya." If that ball would have gone for six instead of the catch of Surya, then the whole world will be talking exactly the opposite of what we are talking now.
When if you look at the game, Nipuna, South Africa
Uh-huh.
won more of crucial matches and close matches than India. So they had an edge going into the finals because they were more into pressure situations while making
Nepal
decisions.
almost beat them.
Yeah.
Because if you would have lost, the chokers tag would have remained with us, with India.
Yeah, we were the new chokers after South Africa.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe it's just a lifestyle, and there is all said and done the luck factor which comes in cricket, what we call as a divine intervention. But
It was meant to be.
if you talk from a long-term perspective, it's always good to work towards it. Technological support, psychological support, because this is the next generation. Because that's
Why don't we call RCB the chokers? They've never won the finals. I don't know. Why only South Africa?
No, I mean, this actually can go on. I know. I mean, I believe this is now turning out to be something very, very interesting. The first session was very good, but Abhijit, you've added so much meat and so much value to this session. I think first of all, I'm trying to pinch myself that I'm talking to you after I've never met you during the Challenger days, but here I am spending almost 90 minutes in conversation, and you're in a different part of the world, making a difference there, and I think this augurs well. We will ensure that we'll be tenacious enough to sort of chase you, that we don't you don't leave our side. We'll ensure that we'll be right beside you.
My privilege.
To whatever you require. As an organization, we'll be there. As individuals, we'll be there. And I think this world needs more people like you and Umesh, because we have to go beyond pleasantry exchange. Today the whole world is all about pleasantry exchange, making people feel nice, but not really making a difference where it actually counts and matters. So your vision to your mission of 2028 podium finish, we are together. We are right behind you. We would love to have deeper interactions with you. Pick your brains in saying, hey, as a stakeholder, what is it that you wish that we can deliver as a company to you? Be it on the physical side, be it on the mental side. As an organization, we would love to come and help, right? So maybe that's for some other day. We'll pick up these conversations.
We'll stay connected, and such gatherings really takes us forward in the right perspective.
100%. It's been an absolute privilege and brilliant session. Wish we could go on, but again, we're mindful of the time for everybody. But I'm going to leave the last word to you and Umesh. But before that, closing comments coming in from Girish, Jothi, and Nipuna.
For me, let's celebrate what you've done. Won the World Cup. Don't worry about what happened, who's been the match winner and stuff like that. We wanted to win it. Thanks to Rohit Sharma and the team. They made this difficult journey and made so many people joyous and happy. So let's be happy.
My closing comment was that he deserves a treat today from me for introducing me for this group.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Unveiling cricket's hidden layers, we explore the key roles in unlocking player potential, where preparation meets opportunity. Teams shaped by resilience, with players pushing their limits to achieve greatness. Discover how peak performance is altering game outcomes. Join us for fresh perspectives on cricket dynamics. Beyond the Pitch, powered by 10aciousX.